The narrative around Hammerhead is one that doesn't make sense to me. People are looking at the fact that it has 4 times the charm, Envious Assassin, and rewind rounds, rewind rounds, rewind rounds, rewind rounds, say that 4 times really quickly, and they're looking at the other perks on the 4th column and they're thinking, oh yeah, this is a great DPS weapon. No! F***ing stop. Okay? For example, here's me at the first boss of Warlord's Ruin, giving myself 1 totem's worth of time to do some damage. Have a look at this. Now compare that with this. And you know what, just for good measure, a really scuffed version of this. And how about we look at this spreadsheet here, made by a very well-respected member of the speedrunning community, Aegis, who seems to know a thing or two about DPS metas. In fact, that's pretty much what his channel is based on. And now, after all the evidence I've presented to you, can we just dispel with the notion that Hammerhead is a DPS option? Because it isn't. Look, I understand one time Divinity went into a different bar that she's not used to, looked across the way flirtatiously and saw Thunderlord giving her the eyes, and sparks literally flew, but that was a one-time thing. And it was a bug. It never happened again. And ever since that fateful day, casuals, LFGs, and the generally misinformed have gotten into their head that LMGs are suitable for DPS. They're not. They never have been. They are ad-clear weapons. There might be certain bosses, certain situations in the future that might call for an LMG DPS situation, but you know what would have to happen before that? Their damage scaler with respect to elites and bosses needs to go up significantly so that they actually do damage. This is an ad clear weapon. So I'm going to recommend 3 unique roles that are suited for ad clear. Are you ready for this? They are Rampage and Killing Tally, 4th times the charm and Killing Tally, and Rewind Rounds and Onslaught. Why? Why have I done all this? Let's talk briefly about the ones I have not recommended. So I have not recommended Surrounded in any of these roles because Surrounded is extremely situational. The only situation where you would want your heavy to have that boosted 40% damage is in a sort of a DPS situation anyways. Next up, Onslaught. I've only recommended 1 role with Onslaught, and the reason I didn't really like Onslaught, it's because it got through the ammo way too quickly. 59 base in the mag isn't enough. And yes, whilst it does boost your reload speed, it's only a flat stat bump. It doesn't feel significantly faster. Have a look at this right now. So the first clip is a non-onslaught roll. Same stats, same everything. Reload once. There you go. Second clip is Onslaught X3. I'm going to put them side by side as well here. There is a difference, but it's not quick enough is what I'm trying to say. Now, Onslaught does make the reload fast enough for you to get your mag back in and then continue slaying straight away, but only if there's enemies nearby and immediately in front of you. Next up, we have High Impact Reserves. This is easily the worst perk here when you compare it to every other perk in this column. Yes, it is a damage perk, but other perks give you better damage straight away. Target Lock. Target Lock has not been considered because it's a DPS perk and takes forever to ramp up on a machine gun. You need 110% in the magazine to do it, for Christ's sake. Desperate Measures I've also decided not to include because you're ad clearing usually from a distance. I think if you're going to be ad clearing with a weapon, you're going to be using this literally to mow down ads. I don't necessarily feel like Desperate Measures synergizes with the playstyle that this gun demands of you. And then Tap the Trigger because this is your PvP perk right here, but for PvE, I'd much rather have a damage perk. Now, let's talk about the perks that I recommend. So, Rampage Killing Tally. Basically, it speaks for itself. Rampage goes up to 33% extra damage. And then Killing Tally goes up to 15% in PvP, and then in PvE, it will go up to 30%. And when you have 2 damage buffs stacked together, they multiply. They're a multiplicative factor. So let's take 1.3310, which is 33.1% damage from Rampage, times that by 1.30, and you get a 73% increase into your overall damage from 3 kills. The net result of that is, okay, you don't have as many bullets to play around with, you don't have anything to help you reload or anything like that, but you will need significantly less bullets to kill everything. And for that reason, this is the primo roll. This is the absolute overkill roll. You will never need another ad clear weapon aside from Hammerhead if you get this. This is what I'll be hunting for the foreseeable. Next up, we have the curated roll from Shax, which is 4th times a charm and Killing Tally. 4th times a charm pulls ammo out of thin air. Rapidly landing precision hits will return 2 rounds to the magazine. You shoot 4 bullets, you'll get 2 back. That then counts towards your next 4 bullets, then you get 2 back. Now I haven't done the maths on this, but it genuinely felt when I was using this weapon like I could not run out of ammo for the life of me. Which is really handy when you pair it with Killing Tally, which says kills increase this weapon's damage until it is stowed or reloaded. We don't have to reload with 4 times charms, we can just keep going. It's fantastic. Another reason I prefer it over Envious is that with Envious, the way you overflow the magazine, yes, it can go all the way up to 177 at base. That's a lot of bullets, probably more than what 4 times charm can offer, but you have to use your other weapons to do so. If I actually need my heavy to do ad clear, then I need that gun up and active 90% of the time. If I'm using my heavy like a primary, then Envious is a wasted perk because it's not going to be stowed. It's going to be the first gun that's out. Envious makes a whole lot more sense on DPS weapons because your DPS weapons are literally that. They're there only for DPS, for one situation that happens very rarely. When you have a primary weapon out or you have a main weapon that you want to use as much as you can, you don't want to have anything on that perk that encourages you to wait around for it. Now, why do I prefer 4 times over rewind rounds? Very simple. Rewind rounds and 4 times have the same end result. They give you more ammo. The difference is 4 times the charms pulls the ammo out of thin air and rewind rounds fills it from reserves. I quite like the idea of free ammo a little bit more. And I don't really have a huge issue landing my precision hits. If you do have an issue hitting your crits, or generally it's just too frenetic and you can't control your aim that precisely for whatever reason, then rewind rounds is probably a better bet for you. And our final role is Onslaught with rewind rounds. Now, I said I didn't like Onslaught because it burns through your armor really quickly. You spend more time out of the fight than actually in the fight. However, perks like rewind rounds and 4 times the charm solve that issue for you, and to a lesser degree, Envious Assassin. But again, you want to be using your weapon like a primary, so Envious Assassin is out. I like rewind rounds over 4 times charm in this situation for one simple reason, is because the RPM at X3 becomes very, very difficult to ensure crits. It's a bullet hose. It's going everywhere. I would much rather focus on getting hits rather than trying to get precision hits. But ultimately, you know, the big question on everybody's minds is, especially for the experienced players, is how does this compare to Commemoration? Well, let's have a look, shall we? Just from a basic stat perspective, Hammerhead is a little bit better on range, a little bit better on stability, worse for handling, a little bit better on reload speed, aim assistance is way higher in Hammerhead, zoom doesn't really matter, airborne effectiveness doesn't matter, but crucially, the reserves are a lot higher on Commemoration. 314 plays 351. Commemoration also has Reconstruction, or the god roll here basically is Reconstruction Killing Tally, because Reconstruction will basically double your mag. Now you put Extended Mag or you put Appended Mag, let's say, it'll go up to 136, Extended Mag will go to 144. Let's say you put up a backup mag on that as well, go up to 150. That's a lot of bullets. That is a shit ton of bullets, and Killing Tally basically won't expire until such time that you actually need to reload. But Reconstruction is always passively reloading the weapon. So in that sense, it feels like this is the best version of what an ad clear weapon should be, because no matter what you do, you are always going to be generating ammo no matter what. You don't need to do anything to get this ammo. That's the main draw of it, is you can put it away, it'll generate ammo in the background. You can have it out, it'll generate ammo in the background. It just kind of goes. Versus Hammerhead, where even the most effective version of this weapon, 4 times charm and Killing Tally, you have to get precision hits. And then Envious Assassin, you have to get kills with other weapons to get that crazy mag size. Now, based on that comparison alone, how easy is it to get your ad clear LMG up and ready and willing? Commemoration wins. Reconstruction cannot be beat. But in terms of the overall power and the utility and the sensation of firing the weapon, you kind of have to give it to Hammerhead. Now yes, the feel of the weapon is very subjective, but again, looking at the stats, Hammerhead does have Commemoration beat in a couple of key areas. The one thing that goes against Hammerhead is handling, and also the fact that Commemoration is craftable. But at the same time, you gotta raid to get Commemoration. But most people don't have friends, and they don't have groups, and they're intimidated to get into a raid. Something like only 11% of the entire Destiny population has actually done a raid. But I also understand that it's a big time commitment, and also people are socially anxious, and also insert X number of different valid logical reasons here. So with all that being said, is Hammerhead the new king of void LMGs? Is it the new king of ad clear? It's hard to make an argument against it if you don't have Commemoration. If you like the playstyle and the ease of use of what Commemoration offers you, then Hammerhead isn't going to do much for you. But Hammerhead has Rampage and Killing Tally, and that offers you power beyond your wildest dreams. And as a bonus, Indomitability, the origin trait, will give you grenade energy when you're playing on a light subclass, which is Void, or if you're using this with a darkness subclass, you get melee energy. So it's more build friendly in that sense. And when you get both of those going, 73% extra damage is really nothing to sniff at. So ultimately it's a choice. On one hand you have convenience, which is Commemoration, Reconstruction, and Killing Tally. On the other hand you have absolute power, Hammerhead, or the Rampage and Killing Tally. And if you don't have good RNG, or you don't have friends to do the raid, you have an option of the both. 4 times the charm, Killing Tally, Hammerhead. And for that reason, I think it's the new king of Void LMGs. Simply because it's accessible. And because it's really good. Hope you liked this video, hope that clears everything up, and for the love of God, if you're taking anything away from this video, don't use LMGs for DPS, please. I am begging you, don't do it. Also, Edge Transit is meta now. Look at the spreadsheet, it's actually meta. Why aren't you using that? Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I'm Ascendant Nomad, and I will see you soon with hopefully a less ranty video about another weapon. Take it easy.